There we go. There we go. Making sure you can see the car above my head. There we go. Kaylin, often so prompt. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Wednesday. Where I come from, we would call that Prince Spaghetti Day if you were of a certain age. So good morning. I am so pleased to let you know that I got some good stuff done yesterday. Not that you always have to be doing stuff. It's true. Good morning, Penny Lou Magoo and Glow with Kerry. I am just taking a moment here as you all are kind of tuning in. It is. Penny Lou, I was going to say, I went outside because my husband was moving some gear into the car. He's going on about a week-long tour with somebody. And it is not as cold as it has been. I never thought I would think that a temperature in the 30 degrees Fahrenheit would actually feel good. But compared to the negative 14s we've had, it's tropical. So yay. Good morning, LGV. Nice to see you. I did that. Alrighty. So, I've already taken my vitamins. Right. Roy G. Biv, green, blue. Okay, we'll do this. Yes, it does feel tropical, right? I am so excited because yesterday was the first time in, I'm telling you, it felt like weeks that I was easily able to go for a walk, to actually walk outside and not be afraid of the ice and not be afraid of slipping on the ice or getting cold. So it felt really nice. And I look forward to actually, even between my coaching sessions this morning, going outside and getting some fresh air in my lungs. So I hope you are able to do that where you are. Good morning, Jen. Nice to see you. Okay. The crown is hurting, says Laura Gibbon Voorhees. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. All right. So trying to remedy that while I listen, I will endeavor to speak in dulcet tones. And I hope you feel better. I hope you have a protocol, things that you tend to do that help you get rid of the headaches. I will always be forever grateful for, if I am living in the time of human pain, that at least I am aware of my life now in the era of modern medicine. Because, man, do I love the fact that I am so grateful for the fact that I can reach for an Excedrin or something, the generic equivalent, and it helps my headache. I am so grateful to not having lived in other generations where I didn't get that. So, yes, so what Laura is talking about, for those of you who don't know, is that there are 4 steps I always like to remind you of every time I do a live, because these 4 steps, done in order, will help you start off your day right and go through your day. So I'll remind you of what those are. Number 1, she says the crown is hurting. So your head is your crown, or right above your crown. And as I like to say, let's take a scan of our entire body from the crown on down, because I like a rhyme. And I like to use my hands too, because get your body involved, okay? Now, I will say for the most part, when I did that, nothing really lit up red. Everything was pretty green. I'm feeling pretty good, which is great. Laura couldn't even get past the crown, and she noticed she had a headache. So she's doing something about that, because she knows, as do you, but you probably don't recognize it, how much the way your physical body feels influences how you feel, how you think, what you do, etc., etc., etc. All right, so number 1 is crown on down, scan your physical body. Number 2, encased within the same thing, is your nervous system, okay? Your nervous system. Erin, good morning, and yay, NYC, I'll be there this time next week. Yay. So number 2 is your nervous system. Now, this is kind of like, I want to kind of make this easy. So this is where you want to talk about Goldilocks. You know, Goldilocks and the 3 bears. So some things were too hard, some things were too soft. We're looking for somewhere in the area of just right. So your nervous system can be all overwhelmed, and that's not good. It can be kind of flatlining and, oh my gosh, I need to check myself for a pulse because I'm feeling ugh. Or we endeavor to kind of usually calm down the nervous system. When I am coaching people, when they show up at my TikTok lives, especially people with the ADHD, usually your nervous system is all up here, kind of shaking and staticky. And we want to tune in and we want to calm down your nervous system. Not totally down, but just down enough so you feel better. You get out of fight or flight like you're flying over here. So we want to get you not flying and fearing and flying and all that. And we do that by using the word down. Calming down, breathing down, slowing down, and all that kind of down. All right? And you repeat that. You quiet down. You shoulders down, muscles down, maybe eyes slowly down, maybe just glancing down into your lap. All sorts of downs, if you do them, like, expel all the crappy energy and then, get it, fling it away, and then calm down without that on there. Numbers 3 and 4 are going to be writing it down and then chunking it down, okay? So think of those 4 things when you're starting today, and I will be referring to them throughout this TikTok live. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Yeah, Laura GV says trying some deep breaths to help the headache to ease. And I will say this, Laura, I get migraines, and I was recently going through, because I try to keep notes on when they happened and what the surroundings were and things like that, just so I can be aware of them to be able to describe them to my doctor. One of the things I realized about me is that sometimes I try to kind of tough it out and use no medicine or over-the-counter medicine before going to what I actually have prescribed for that. And what I noticed that the last time, which was just about a week ago or so, that I had like a week of just these really tough headaches, was that the longer I tried to tough it out and not use what I knew would work, meant the longer I was in suffering. Okay? So I hope that you aren't trying to struggle and be strong and tough it out. If you know there's something that works besides deep breathing, please just go right to the punch. There's no shame in using the medications that will work the best, okay? All it will do is delay. If you don't do it, all it will do is delay feeling better. Okay, so I hope you feel better. Good morning, German maid. Nice to see you. All righty. So, what do we have going on today? There we go. Yeah, you know what? And Laura GV, I will say, going to take my migraine med. I do the same thing. I try everything else first. I do too, and then but I'm going to take it now. Yay! And I wouldn't say that unless I walked through that myself. And I saw when I was writing the notes that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go right for the migraine pill, and it helped me feel better. A cold cap. What a good idea. What a good idea. Alrighty. So I am here to help you not just feel good with your headaches, but feel good in your home. And what I have found is that when we have clutter in our homes, it tends to cause us to not feel good. And sometimes on the flip-flop, sometimes we don't feel good, so we clutter our houses up. And I like to show up and just kind of give an open, kind of general call to say, okay, today's this day. Today is it the 11th? It is. Wednesday, February 11th of 2026. How are you feeling in your home? How are you feeling about your clutter situation? I'm feeling pretty good about mine. I am definitely surrounded by more clutter than I have in a while because I have to put some stuff in the basement. But I'm here to help you with what you're struggling with if you're struggling with clutter. I'm a decluttering life coach. I have been cluttered most of my life because that's how I was raised. But in the past 10 years or so, I've really focused on noticing the relationship between my environment and how I feel. And it's not just, the fresh air and the things like that, but the clear surfaces make me feel good when I walk into my kitchen. I love the feeling of when I go to look for something, I know where it is, that it's in good condition. I can easily use it when I go to use it, and I can easily put it away. that easily being able to use it and, to put it away also keeps my house less cluttered. Now, when I talk about clutter, I usually divide it up into 3 camps, 3 layers, again, from top to bottom, from easiest to least easy, but still doable. Surface clutter, as I mentioned, countertops, floors, beds, any horizontal surface that has stuff on it that isn't supposed to be there, that's a cluttered surface. The second one is stored clutter. So I like to have a rhyme. So I like to say stored is behind doors, closets and cabinets, basement doors, doors to the room that you say don't go into, garage doors, behind doors and drawers. So think of the drawers in your kitchen, the drawers in your bedroom, the drawers, not your underwear, silly, the drawers in the cabinet in the bedroom. So surface, stored, and sentimental. Okay, sentimental could really be anywhere. It can be on a surface, you can have it stored, but it's the stuff that you save, not because of what it is, but because the story it tells you. Alrighty? And so wherever you are, I'm happy to meet you there. Here's a fun thing that maybe very few of you would be able to do, but one of the things I recommend that has been very helpful to me, that I'll just share because it's kind of top of mind as I look at this, is sharing the stories that you've saved, that what you've saved tell. So your sentimental items tell you a story. And one of the things that can be fun about them is sharing that story. Sharing it with the person down the hallway that you live with. Sharing it with the people who may be still in your life that were associated with it. I had a lot of fun. I think I mentioned this on one of the TikTok lives. There might be a YouTube live. So I discovered, and it's still not there because I'm still working on it. So notice there is a hole back here where one of my train cases, I pulled out my train case and I was working on cassettes. Well, I was able to record. There were some of these mystery tapes that I have, and some of them I realized had the radio station that I was part of in college radio in the 1980s. And I, very low budget, literally videotaped my boombox when the tape was playing and saved certain excerpts and texted that to friends of mine from the station. And what a fun connection it was. So think about ways that if you are saving things because of stories, now sometimes the stories are just stories you tell yourself, but if there's other people involved, it can be fun to share those stories. There we go. Rocks 96 says, had a yard sale 2 weeks ago, made some money and donated the leftovers, and the garage feels better. Here's a funny thing. I will just share with you that I've said that before. Oh, my house feels so good. Now, I tend to, as we would say in my family, anthropomorphize things. So I wouldn't be surprised if your garage is a character in Pee-wee's Playhouse, your garage feels better, but even more importantly, let's get the balance right. You feel better when you walk into your garage. You're the one who has the feelings, and the feelings feel good when you walk into that garage. Because of the way the garage looks and functions, you are feeling good. All right, so yay for you feeling good. Yay, Penny Lou Magoo says, first morning since I've been home that I'm home and feel well enough to get things done. Yay for feeling well enough to get things done. Yay. Kara says, I am currently a horizontal surface. Trust me, I would do my TikTok lives from bed if I wasn't going to be all wrinkles and neck, right? So yes, sometimes even just getting your body from horizontal to vertical can be very good. It also just helps with, what do you call it? Gravity, draining, all that kind of thing, waking up. So, yay, I feel better. Yes, and so notice the association. Good morning, Melissa. Notice I want you to create an association. Let's be obvious about this. Let's not try to pretend it's magic. I am here to help you create a good feeling, positive, feel-good association with the results of decluttering and as much of the actions of decluttering as we can. Because when you start to think about, when you're thinking currently about decluttering, I bet you get a feeling of ugh and dread and unfun. that feeling will cause you probably to avoid decluttering because you don't want to feel bad, even though technically you've already kind of conjured up a bit of that not so good feeling in yourself. I am here to help you realize there's another way to do it. And when you feel better, when you think better about your clutter, you will feel better about your clutter. And when you think and feel better about your clutter, you are going to be more likely to do something about the clutter that bugs you. If you feel glum, it's going to be a lot to get you going. So let's stop the glum feeling by stopping maybe some of the ways you think about clutter. So what are some of the unhelpful thoughts? What are the negative thoughts that come up in your head that pop up when I say to you, what's a negative thought you have about clutter? What's a thought you have about clutter that makes you dread it? Everybody who wants to participate, put it in the comments and I will show you a different way of looking at clutter from that same lens, okay? That may make you feel, if not better, at least differently, okay? So I see a few coming in. I'll give everybody a chance to go in, and because I want to see if there's any recurring motifs. I already see some, frankly, where I'm coming from, and it'll be interesting to see if it pops up again. Okay. Alrighty, now I love Penny Lou Magoo says it's everywhere, although I don't think that anymore because of your help. Yep. It's going to take forever. Yeah, okay. So first of all, with everybody who's tuning in or participating, notice this is the drama queen aspect of what we're saying. You know, I am overwhelmed and it's everywhere. Those are the first two I see. And I say to you, it isn't. So those are, I get the overwhelm. I would also rephrase it. Instead of I am overwhelmed, I am feeling overwhelmed. Distancing yourself, noticing that overwhelm is a temporary feeling. Overwhelm is a feeling of kind of too much and you can't process it, so you shut down. And that's your nervous system. That is fight or flight. I'm overwhelmed because maybe I see clutter everywhere. And so this is where I want you to say, wait a minute, if I am feeling overwhelmed, I can do something about this. Remember step 2, nervous system. Calm down, sit down, quiet down. You know, maybe you yell at it all. Maybe you get it all out and you're like, oh, I can't stand this. Rebuke it all. But then practice calming down your nervous system. There's different ways you can do that. Now, this isn't going to make you go immediately from negative to positive, but even just get you into neutral so you can even entertain the notion of different feelings, okay? So when you're overwhelmed, I want you to use this hack, okay? Show me the life hack. When you think of overwhelm, I want you to remember that it has the word over in it. And I want you to throw your hands up in the air and stop the feeling of overwhelm. And then turn your hands down, kind of as we did before, and just remember that you can calm down, slow down, breathe down, and make yourself feel better. And when you get out of overwhelm, then you can write down and chunk down, okay? Now, Lulu says, I'm having to decide what stays. Yes, and decide is 100%. Decluttering is decision making. Now, you may be avoiding making decisions for fear of making the wrong decision. There is a way that you can make decisions that you're going to feel better about your decision in the short term and the long term. So one of the things I say to you about that, Lulu, is you can do this at your own pace. Making a decision to keep something, but then practicing wearing it, using it, eating it. Practice, experiment with what stays, and if it stays, getting it into your life. Now, Barb is saying one of her thoughts is, I may need this or want this. Now, I am not an English teacher, but I will say, notice the tenses of her verbs. I may, inference, in the future, need this or want this. But notice about you right now. You right now, do you right now need it or want it? Just think about that, because not to get all too woo-woo or whatever, but the only true place that you and I ever live is in the now, man. It's so true. We can remember the past, we can think of the past, and we can try to project out into the future and guess what happens. But the only time we really ever are living is in the present moment. So if you're not using that thing, and I say in the present moment, like right now, am I using my hand mixer? No, I'm on TikTok. But have I used it in the past? Yes. Do I expect to use it in the future? Yes. So I feel good. I have made the decision that I feel good about, which is I am going to keep my hand mixer. I may need it or want it, so I keep it. But then I also will often, throughout the year and just throughout everyday life, take inventory and notice the things that I have kept that I am not using. I have yet to use the candy thermometer that I found in the drawer of my mother-in-law's house when we were cleaning out the house to sell it. Okay. Yeah. Now, Jen says it makes me anxious. So I would say to me two things, that there is probably a thought, there are some words in your head that you could attribute to the anxious feeling. But anxious feeling is to me also your nervous system. So there are some things you can do, including talking nicely to yourself to calm down your anxiety. Now, this is where I like to bring in that idea, because I'm always bringing in ideas of things we probably already know to do in the real world. But if you met somebody else who was anxious, or a dog or a cat who is anxious, or a kid who is all stressed out, you would do things like quiet down and slow down and talk nicely to them to decrease their anxiety. Yes, when you are in an active, anxious, overwhelmed state, it is going to be very difficult to do anything. So your thing would be to recognize, I'm feeling anxious. What's this all about, Alfie? And what I like to do sometimes when I don't know, but my body is telling me something before the thinking brain can show up, is I will grab a notebook. I will fold a piece of paper in half. And on this one side here, I will just write down all the things that might be making me feel anxious. When I write those down, I can then start to define, I can still flip them over and say what's the opposite. Okay? Now, Mama Joe, along the lines of having the two sides of the paper, there's judgment and there's curiosity. There's anger. There's all sorts of very unhelpful thoughts and feelings that cause you to feel crappy. And one of them is going to be self-judgment. We do not do that here. So this is a good place to practice not judging yourself. I'm going to see what that looks like. Now, Mama Joe says, I can't believe I have let it get this bad. Okay, but notice the judgment. Does that make you feel better to say that to you in that way? Does that encourage you to change it? I'm thinking probably not. And then you're saying, yes, and then I must be lazy. Notice how judgy those words are. You're judging yourself, and it's not kicking your ass out of bed to get it done. Or if it does, you're feeling bad about it. So notice that type of motivation doesn't work for you. I can't believe I've let it get this bad. Okay, well, it could be worse. You could let it go another day. I may be lazy. Lazy to me is a construct. I call myself lazy sometimes, but I own it, and I think it's a good thing. I've been doing other things, and I haven't been decluttering. How did I let it get this bad? And what's so bad about it? Have a conversation with yourself. Do not let, as I've been saying recently, do not let the backseat driver, which is the voice of all the unhelpful stuff, do not allow them to have the last word. If they pipe up, practice using what I call your co-pilot voice, the voice inside you of love and possibility, kind of like my voice, except without the weird Boston by way of Delaware accent. All right? So I say to you, stopping the judgment, quieting down the backseat driver, and practice just getting curious. I wonder what was going on that caused me to let it get this bad. Oh, that's right. I've been working 80 hours a week, or I've been depressed because my friend died, or I don't know why, but I've never been able to declutter, so this seems overwhelming. Now, again, in the overwhelm, Penny Lou Magoo, in the overwhelm of time, it's going to take forever. No. The only time it's going to take a long time is if you don't do any decluttering one day, you just add it to the next day. You're just pushing it off. Yeah. Now, Melissa says, I never have enough time after working long shifts. And then I spend my day off doing all the things. Now, this, Melissa, I will share with you. To me, this is kind of there's this rainbow of two extremes, all or nothing. And I want to help you break that habit, even gently and small. That yes, if you do absolutely nothing except working long shifts, you never have enough time. Well, I would get curious. What is enough time? Could you spend 5 minutes every day after or before a shift? Before a shift, 5 minutes. After a shift, 5 minutes to do something decluttery. That would be almost an hour of decluttering throughout the Monday through Friday week. And that would be an hour less decluttering you're doing on your day off. Okay? You know, Samira is saying decisions. Yes, decision making. I'm here to help you get better at decision making. Deciding, and the way I do it is I've gotten much more comfortable, though you may not be right now, but I can help you with this. Get more comfortable asking yourself what you want, write it down, and let's start to go for it. Okay? Now, Sconson is saying, where do I start? And with the question mark and exclamation point, to me, that indicates a certain amount of overwhelm. I am so overwhelmed that I do not know where to start. Sconson, I will tell you where to start. I'll tell you where to start. I didn't mean to sound like that. Start with calming down your nervous system and getting into neutral. Make yourself feel better. Do something to slow down, to redirect, to calm down your nervous system. Remind yourself, calming down your nervous system and getting out of fight or flight. Remember, fight or flight, you think of flight up here, we want to calm down. It's the opposite. Is a life skill that is bigger than decluttering, and it's going to be helpful in a lot of areas in your life. So the sooner you practice it, the sooner you get good at it, the more often you can use it. As you calm down, okay, and you shift your gears from spinning your wheels to even just sitting there with the engine on in neutral, then you are going to be in a better position. And I will share with you, it doesn't really matter where you start. Just starting is going to be the most important thing. I highly recommend, to make it easy to start with chunking it down into one room and or do some surface decluttering. But just get practiced getting out of spinning your wheels and slowing down and then getting into gear, just like your car. Okay? Yes, no judgy McJudger pants over here. Completely no. All right? So, yeah. So notice these are things you can do. I am giving you actions you can take. And a lot of them happen in here and in here before you ever do anything where you're moving around, moving clutter. You know? Yeah, and I mean, please, Laura Gibbon Voorhees, I love this. She says, sometimes I surprise myself with how little amount of time it takes to do a job I've procrastinated. Again, I'm looking around for my sunglasses, and that is why Christy Newwertson here on TikTok is so freaking popular, because you're not the only one. We are not the only ones who say, oh my God, that took like 10 minutes and I've been dragging my feet on it for days. So learn from that. Yeah. Something you are spending more time and energy avoiding something than if you just kind of turned and faced it and did it. And it can be scary to do that, but we can help you and we can chunk it down. Okay? Good morning, that one persona. Yeah. Okay. That one persona is asking for good vibes, prayers, whatever voodoo that you do so well, because her mom is having gallbladder surgery today. That one persona's mom. I hope you go through your surgery with flying colors. My good vibes are heading your way. Okay? There we go. There we go. Okay? All right, see, Callie Rose is one of us. One of us. She's saying, yeah, that was me taking down my Christmas tree. Notice, dread. Doing it, it's done. All that time you spent in dread is still making you feel crappy. Okay? Yeah. Yay. Kara is vertical. She was horizontal in bed. Now she's vertical. Vertical. And because of that, her bed is made. She is dressed. Teeth are brushed. My teeth aren't brushed yet. Tossing laundry over the loft and heading downstairs. There we go. Uh-huh. Yeah, and notice Callie Rose. Notice, here's her tree. It took her, let's say, she took it down on February the 1st. I'm just making this up. But from December 25th to February 1st, I bet you had the daily thought, and maybe multiple times a day, I got to take the tree down. I got to take the tree down. I got to take the tree down. I really should take the tree down. This is the day I'm going to take down the tree. I didn't take down the tree yesterday. Oh my God. Like all of that is going to cause anxiety. Then you finally do it. It takes an hour or so. I'm just saying, when you have the thought about doing something, you reduce your anxiety by simply getting in the habit of doing the thing sooner rather than later. You save yourself weeks of stress. Okay? Okay, now Lasardo is offering, Beth taught me to start with a small area. I cleaned off the top of a dresser and saw success. Yeah. Yeah, so I saw success. I hope you felt it too. Right here, a giant star, you know, kind of like Wonder Woman. Actually, she had the eagle on her little bustier. We're going to have a star right here, okay? There we go. Oh, Carol. So Carol's back. Her mom died Monday, but her mom was 105 years old. And I've been searching for important papers. See, this is another aspect of decluttering that I want to remind you of. Decluttering helps you and helps other people when things legitimately get overwhelming and stressful. I know where my important papers are. I better make sure I know where my mother's important papers are. I know more now where my mother's important papers are than I did before I helped her declutter. Do you know where your important papers are? Your birth certificate, your, yes, I own my car. Here's how much money I spent on my house. This is my will. Here's my advance directive. Do you know where your important papers are? I feel like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Yeah, so Carol, my heart goes out to you. It really does. I am glad that you are finding the catharsis in shredding papers. Yeah. Ellen, you go stay warm. Yes, decluttering. I reposted somebody else's video here on my TikTok page. I'm not sure how you can see them. I think there's one of the tabs on the top, but it talked about cleaning your house as an act of self-care because it can calm down your nervous system. Getting rid of what you don't want, tidying up, and then you have a result. The resulting thing can be, might be something you want to watch. Okay? So, yeah, 105 is a long time to live. It is. Oh, I got something I need to tend with right now. Yep. Let me just do this. Alrighty, I just had to get that out there. It was timely. Alrighty. There we go. Carol Long got her knockbox. Now, this is something I don't necessarily, I have a different way of doing things, but it's an NOK. It's something some people sell. Next of kin is what it stands for. Okay? Alrighty. So there we go. Going through it, found some stuff, and it's freeing. Yes. There we go. And yeah, ask questions. This is what I'm here for. Yay. Yeah. And yeah. Oh, funny. Yes. Destination Declutter, the ASMR. I find myself doing that sometimes when I'm showing myself something to my husband, and that fingernails on a hard surface thing annoys me so much. that I'm like, I can't stand it. Okay. Anyhow, so I'm taking a look at the time. It's 8:35. Okay. It's 8:35, and I will be doing this TikTok live for another 25 minutes. My name's Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching here on TikTok and on the internet is Destination Decluttered. My website is destinationdecluttered.com. If you want to know when my TikTok lives and YouTube lives are scheduled, make sure you're on my mailing list. I don't send out a lot of emails. I don't like a lot of emails, so I don't send them. If you want to know when my TikTok lives and YouTube lives are, join the mailing list so that I can share with you a link to a secret page that has the schedule on it, okay? Now, Borger is saying the idea of adding up the daily 10 minutes and calling it an hour at a week feels great to me. Yes, this is classic. This is number 4. The most important one is going to be chunking it down. Chunking it down means making something big smaller, and the smaller you make it, the easier it's going to feel like you deal with it. You know, even the fact that we think we're overwhelmed here, so you shrink things down really small. You know? Okay, choose inner peace. Business owner, and I dread taxes. Please help. 2 years behind the filing. Okay? So a couple of things I want to help you with. I love it. Kara's feeling better. All right, so business owner, me too. What I want to help you with is this, and it's going to be the same steps. All right? Business owner. Or choose inner peace, rather. It says business owner. Dread taxes. Dread. Notice it's a feeling. You're dreading this. I would write down why you're dreading them. Okay? Probably I'm going to get in trouble with the IRS. I dread sending, admitting how much I made or didn't make from my business. I dread kind of like shifting all that money to the government. Whatever it is, okay? What I will help you with is calming down your nervous system so you're less dreadful. I will tell you that I used to dread my taxes for forever. I started my tax process yesterday, and it felt good to get it started. So what I would do, choose inner peace, is this. Calm down your nervous system by writing down some of these things, okay? So, and we're going to chunk it down. So everybody who pays taxes, or everybody who's supposed to pay taxes, or however you want to phrase it, I want you to think of this. The paperwork required for your taxes is really just receipts from how much money you made and the receipts of how much money you spent that you are using as a deduction in your process, okay? And one of the things I will share with you, business owner, that really helped me was to practice chunking it down like nobody's business. Now you have your 2 years behind in filing. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start with 2 big chunks. You're going to start with, 2024, my pile of 2024 taxes, tax paperwork, the evidence, all that stuff. And then my pile for 2025, or maybe it's 20, whatever those 2 years are. Chunk them down to that year. Within that 1 year, let's say we're dealing with the 2024 taxes. Notice the 2 piles I had you make. One is, here is paper evidence of how much money I was paid. This is income coming in. And this is the pile of evidence that represents money that went out for legitimate business purposes. So out of that one pile, you make 2 different piles. Okay? Now, what you do with them after that, I have found, choose inner peace, that what gives me great inner peace is to spend some more money with this process and have a professional help me with my business paperwork and my taxes. It gives me peace of mind 24/7, 365 to have somebody else help me with it. Now, I don't know if you do your taxes or somebody else does it, but at least as far as preparing your paperwork, okay? Now, I will share with you that there are a lot of commercials on TV and stuff like that increase your stress about doing the taxes and paperwork and everything. And they do that to get you activated into a state, because then you're more likely to buy their product. Okay? So what I say is we do it differently here. Now, you may still pay somebody to do some of the stuff that you don't want to, but at least you have a better handle on what taxes are. The other thing I do right now is I already have an envelope for those two kinds of receipts. That's for my taxes for this year. I've started it. So I have my receipts from last year, and I've already started chunking it down, both on my computer. Every time I get something that indicates that I was paid money or that I spent money, because I do a lot of, I donate a lot of my income to worthy causes. Anytime I get a receipt saying thank you for your thing, and it's something I can deduct off of my taxes, I put it in a folder in my email box it's called 2026 business paperwork. Notice what I've done. I have chunked it down. I have written it down. When I do those chunks, I dread it a little bit less. Yesterday, I started our paperwork already by filling out the paperwork from our tax guy that says, hey, I need all this information. Now, I got overwhelmed, and this is something that I was kind of dragging my feet on. Once I sat down to do it, I realized I have pretty much this same format, this same form from last year, so I copied it over for the most part. And then I mailed it to, I created a PDF and uploaded it to the portal. I feel good getting it started early, chunking it down. It took me like 10 minutes. I'm 10 minutes closer to getting it done. Okay? I hope that helps. Yeah, Samira says, what to do with your kids' trophies? They are all adults and left home. I love the fact that Laura Gibbon Voorhees wants to make them be, what do you call that? A participation trophy for a certain insecure little tiny penis young old man in the White House. Yeah. What I would offer is ask your kids if they want them. Ask your kids if they want them. I did see some lady do this. Now, I will say my husband has we have a tote. What I'm planning on doing is, you've ever seen the Stanley Cup? Now, I am not a sports person, okay? But I see that sometimes they have like the big thing, and then there'll be like it'd be the loving cup on the top, and then there's the base with all the engravings and stuff on it. My husband has a bunch of trophies because he's won awards, and what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to take just the little brass plaques off them. Just a little brass plaque. I feel like I should be singing a song with a ukulele. And I'm going to put them on each one of the sides, and I may make one statue with all of those on it. You can see if your kids want them, tell your kids to get them. If not, take off the brass plaques, and you can donate them somewhere. I bet there are some places in your area where there are teams that don't have enough money to buy the trophies for kids. You can recycle them. Okay? I hope that helps. All right? Now, I'm going to back up here. There we go. See Melissa. Bed made, laundry started, going to the doctor's appointment. Then mail eBay orders. Yay. Good stuff. Yep. And look, that one persona was saying the same thing. Then home to list more eBay, dishes. Maybe we'll start a timer for cleaning sections. Yeah. Yep. Yay, Danielle, for having a folder I've been putting my tax documents in as they arrive this year. Love it. Yay, thank you for taking us to the coop. Yeah, so choose inner peace. I think I go overboard. I go line by line in my bank statement. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But what I would say is chunk it down. Choose inner peace. Don't wait till it's 365 days worth of transactions. Again, chunking down, step number 4. At the end of each month, you go through a bank statement, and then you know it's done. And then by the time you accumulate, so chunking it down is really going to help them. I prepare them for my tax guys. So do I. But what I say is, this is what I do, is I then also chunk down my interaction. I become more comfortable dealing with business paperwork by practicing hanging out with it every month. When it's just a month's worth, when it's low level, and I do that little bit. and I've done 1/12. If I do the January paperwork, then I'm 1/12 done for when it's December. If I do a little bit of paperwork, if I go line by line in February, that's 2 months worth. If I do it so notice that the chunking it down, you can do it by month. Avoiding until the end of the year is 365 days worth of it. I don't like that feeling. I hope you don't. I don't think you do either. Okay? Yeah. Chunking it down, and it really did help me, especially because I was never taught how to do my taxes. I was taught to be stressed about them, and I really kind of I learned things as I was like when I became self-employed, I had to learn what to do because I had never done all that stuff before. I got better at it, and now I'm really good at it, and I don't mind. I actually strangely feel good about doing my taxes. And I say doing my taxes, all I'm doing, again, is sending paper to somebody else who does the taxes. But I feel good about that, and I used to not feel good about it. And I feel good about it because I know it's something I used to stress about. So I feel better knowing that I can do something that I used to be afraid of. Okay? And so, yes, go inner peace, go. Exactly. Yeah. So Carol is saying, I have a lot of medical stuff unused. What should I do with them? That one persona, call local home health or hospice to see if they could use it, as long as it's unopened and not expired. Right. So this happens with everybody. Okay? Everybody who has stuff in your house that you are not using. I highly recommend taking a quick Google search of your area. Yeah. Hold on. Boo-boo? Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was you.
Yep, I got 3 minutes ago. I still.
Oh, I thought you were leaving at 8.
Well,
Okay, I'm on live here. Okay, love you, bye. Sorry, my husband's leaving. I thought he was leaving at 8 o'clock, so when I hear a thump in the house at 8:45, I'm making sure it's not, somebody else. It was him. Okay. To get back to what we were saying, notice how quickly I went from, oh my gosh, something bad could happen, to then recentering myself. All right? Practice. Gets better. So, what I share with you is, when you have stuff in your house and you are saying, this still has life in it, I don't want to throw it away, this is when you turn to Google or whatever your search engine of choice, places to donate, medical things in my area. Hey, community, do you know of anybody else? Use what I call the hive mind. Activate everybody's, if you have a group of people that you know, like for example, Samira is asking about the statues, the trophies, right? If you belong to, let's say, a Facebook group from your town, or you have texts you can send out to people who maybe have kids who do the sports, and you can share what you are looking for a solution for with the hive mind. Hey, does anybody know if there's a team that needs extra trophies? I have all these things my kids want and they didn't want them. Okay? So find out what you have and then look for a place that might need it. Now, you may not know it off the top of your head because you've never looked for that kind of place before. That is why it is so great that we all have communities to ask about, and there's an online resource known as a search engine. Okay? So I hope that helps. So where do I donate, women's professional clothing? Where can I donate used toys? Where can I donate a mattress? Where can I share my abundance of whatever it is with people who will actually use it and keep it out of a landfill? A lot of times this will work. Sometimes it doesn't. There sometimes are no places to do that. Then it's a matter of getting comfortable saying, I did the best to try to find a home, so now it's okay for me to put it in the trash. Okay? Yeah. And that one persona says, yeah, there we go. Carol Long, I love this. She says, okay, will do. I'm freeing my heart and my house. And isn't that great? And I love it, that one persona, you use the little hug emoji that somebody else also, like me, thought it was an old-timey movie camera. But, we get it. So yay you. And that one persona is even amplifying. Yes, Definitely share on social media what you have, because it's ridiculous what insurance won't pay for sometimes. We did this when our dog passed away because we had unopened cans and bags of dog food. We had multiple, like collars and whatnot. And we found a dog rescue place that could use the extra crates and totes and things like that. And it felt good to help people so they didn't have to spend money on stuff. Okay? So anybody here who has something that still has life in it, just because something is still works well, it may not work for you. And that's okay, but it may work for somebody else. So give it a shot to try to get it out back into circulation, to hook up with somebody who could use it. So finding a good place to donate it. And user 6013 says, we have a neighborhood app where we can ask and request services. That's great for you. I know for myself, we don't have an app, but I have a group of friends that we literally have like a text thread with about 20 people on it. I also, where I live, have, I'm part of a Facebook group for my town. So you can ask questions and get other people's opinions. Yeah. Samira is offering, I donate blankets and bed sheets to pet shelters. Right. So look at what you can do. You can donate it to people who might need it. You might donate it to pet shelters. So getting in the habit of noticing that even when things have value, if I don't use them, it's basically wasted potential right here. What I have now could be helping somebody else instead of just sitting here in my closet. Somebody else could be warm under a blanket as opposed to me having a stack of blankets here that I never use. Now, am I suggesting donating all your blankets and then you be all freezing cold? No, silly. You donate, if you have 10 blankets, you take a notice of how many blankets do I use to get warm. What if I had, and then you think, okay, well, that's just me and when we're here, but what if we have house guests? Okay, how many house guests do we usually have? How many blankets do we need? Even if it's 2 blankets off the top and 8 feels better to you, that's 2 blankets that are getting you from overwhelming to just right, and 2 blankets that you can share with other people who are cold. So it doesn't have to be a grand sweeping gesture. It can be a fine-tuning of the quantity and quality of things you have. Because you may look at your blankets and be like, well, I get 10 blankets, but there are a couple of them I don't even like. That's why they've been relegated not to my bed, but for if we have people come over and stay over on the Aero bed. So notice there are some things you're keeping that you've already kind of demoted to not being a primary thing in your life. It's just something to think about. I have blankets. I have a, a comforter right here in a bag next to me that I need to put down the basement. That was the comforter on my bed circa 2001, 2002. But then we got another blanket, comforter, quilt that we like better. So this one, it still has life in it, and we do occasionally have people stay over. So we keep that separate from the stuff that we use in the everyday. This is packed away in this big zip bag that I got from IKEA, literally with a sign on it that says, sheets and pillows for AeroBed and the comforter for the AeroBed. I have them labeled, and they spend most of their time down the basement in storage. They don't get mixed up with my everyday stuff. So I hope that helps. Couple of things. It is 8:54 a.m. where I am, so I will be signing off in about 6 minutes. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered because I like a road trip, and it really helps to think of things instead of inventing a whole new way of thinking of things, to just think about it with stuff you already do every day. And for me, I live in suburban America. I am in my car almost every day. And ideally, I am driving towards a place I want to be. And every day that I drive a little bit closer, I get there. Now, the other day, actually, I wrote down, so when I've been going through, and I'm going to continue doing it today, my cassette tapes. I have my cassette box right there, and I will share with you that I spent about an hour, a little over an hour, with my initial thing of cassettes. 9 cassettes ended up easily being in the trash. 1, I shared items with it. 1, I've want to digitize some of it to share, and then I want to throw them away. 4 of them are sentimental. I do want to keep them. And then I thought to myself, I have 10 unlabeled partially to go through. So I thought, could I do 1 a day? That would take 10 days. And that feels doable, you know? So notice the chunking it down that just happened there. I went from, I guess, let's say 20 cassettes, and some of them, by the way they were labeled, I was able to easily go through them because they were pretty much, you know, when I taped some records and I can listen to the music other ways. Okay? Yay. Yay. Laura Gibbon Voorhees, The Crown is mostly improved. Going to ease into the to-do list. Yeah. Okay. So Albright Photography, let me help you with this with CDs and DVDs. What I have found is I still keep some CDs and some DVDs and some records and some cassettes. But what I keep tend to be the things that I listen to actively or I have sentimental attachment to. What I have found, though, is back in the day when I used to collect CDs because it was the only way to be able to listen to music on demand that I wanted to listen to, times have changed. Now, if I want to hear any song, even if I have it on CD, I will more likely go over here and type it into my computer, and I'll be able to listen to something that somebody else posted. If I go to listen to it and it's not there, it might make me want to keep the CD. So I say to myself, hey, is there any reason why I'm keeping this CD? It could be, well, I spent a lot of money on it, or I don't know where to donate it, or things like that. Okay? Our kids' ones, and might be fun for our grandkids someday. Okay, so depending upon how close you are to grandchildren playing with CDs, that may make sense. Okay? But notice there's a difference when you're making a decision to keep something and it feels good. I'm saving these for when the kids are here. But then you take a look at your CDs and you're like, do I want my grandkids listening to Sir Mix-a-Lot or Naughty by Nature? Now, I don't have either of those in my thing, but what music do you want to share with them? What technology do you want to share with them? Okay? We live in such a world, if you kind of pull back and just notice, we all have lived through such progress and turmoil and upheaval of technology that we actually have a lot of evidence of past technology and that we're still hanging on to. So I say to you, that's okay. Again, I am here decluttering. I'm a decluttering life coach helping you with this, and I still have, a cassette that I made in 1977 is when this thing was. But I don't want to keep this anymore. I have literally been lugging this around for 40 plus years. So now I feel good about popping it in there, listening to it, kind of reliving what I did, and then feeling good about putting it in the trash. If there's something I want to keep on it, I will find a new modern way to keep that without having to keep the whole cassette. Yes. Yeah. Danielle says, it's crazy. I learned to type on a typewriter and now to look at the technical advances. Yeah, you and me both. I decided back in high school I never wanted to work in an office because it seemed boring. So I didn't take typing. I had no idea at the time that there were going to be these things called computers, that all of us would be a hell of a lot more typing. Back in the day, typing was for academia and office work, two things I was very uninterested in. But look at the times that change, and we are keeping up with the times. But as we do that, we have outdated technology, but outdated ways of thinking and feeling about stuff, outdated habits that keep us cluttered. And just like when you get your phone and it says it's time for an update on your apps, I'm here to update you. I'm here to show you a better way to do these things so that moving forward, you're not carrying around so many heavy things and you have an easier way to declutter. Okay? Now, I'm going to sign off now because I have stuff to do, and I know you do too. Again, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. I do TikTok lives, YouTube lives, one-on-one coaching. And if you want to know when all that stuff is going on, declutter parties, people. We got declutter parties this weekend. We have three, count them, 3. If you want to know all about that, super easy. Go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. Go to the bottom of the homepage. Join the mailing list. Know that I won't send you a lot of emails, but what I will send you is a link to a secret page that, ta-da, has all that stuff on it. Okay? So good to hang out with you guys. I will see you later today or maybe tonight when we do our Destination Decluttered YouTube Live. All right? Have a good one, and let's